Well, hello there, and welcome to this lovely little tutorial. Well, hello there, and welcome to the OBS Studios. No, that's not right. Hello there, and welcome to the OBS Utils base tutorial. This is just going to go over the base setup and all of the functionality of the module, so this should be applicable no matter what version you are using. As of right now, we are in the 4.0.0 release running Foundry 13, but there hasn't been any functionality changes, so this tutorial is still applicable if you're running Foundry 12, the closing release for that. We are in my development test world right now. This already has the module set up, but just so you know, you need to install the module, turn it on in here. This will look different for you. This is just because this is my development environment. For you, this will say whatever version the module is in. We also have a dependency on librepper because we are modifying some of the base Foundry functionality for OBS Utils to function. Once the module is activated, you will see that this panel over here is now available. This is one of the central features of OBS Utils, the director. The director allows you to take control of a different Foundry client without having to directly interact with this. That is because OBS Utils is intended for use with the OBS browser source. If you are using the director, you can change what tracking mode you want to have in combat and out of combat, and you have some canvas options. We will go over those in a separate video. This is just to be a small overview of how to set up the module to get everything working. You have the settings over here. These are also all parts that we will go over individually, but this module has a lot of features to interact with OBS itself, and to display overlays of various kinds over your stream. These down here are settings that concern themselves with the overall functionality. Some of these are for the director mode, some of these are for the OBS interactions. OBS Utils also comes with an API, but because it is dangerous to allow arbitrary code running in your Foundry environment to interact with your stream directly, if you are using a module that does that, you will need to allow the API access to OBS WebSockets. All the other API is always available. It is possible for other module authors to write their own overlays or to write integrations into the module via the regular Foundry module development. One setting down here, although, is always more or less important because it doesn't pertain to any of the individual features. That area starts down here. OBS Utils, if the module detects that the browser it's running in is the OBS browser source, which is done automatically if you're using that, it will hide all of the UI elements from view. Down here, you have a couple of settings to control how that looks. If you are using the AV integration of Foundry, where you have the cameras on the left side, you want that to be visible in the game view of your stream. This setting right here is for you. This will show the video's sidebar as normal. This will allow the user config to render. The user config specifically is this window right here, where you can set your player character and stuff. If you have anything to do in this that will allow the window to show up if you reload your OBS browser source. And then you can use the interact mode on that to change your settings. Pop-ups are also handled. Pop-ups will automatically close after some delay. This setting right here allows you to make those pop-ups static. If you have some stream layout set up that would benefit from the pop-ups to always be the same size and in the same place, you can turn this on, and you can set these values. These are numerical values in pixels. So if you have a standard 1920 by 1080 pixel canvas, which is full HD resolution on a 16:9 monitor, this right here would make the pop-up appear about here, and it would be a 1000 by 1000 pixel square, so about as big as this window. Roughly like this. Down here, we have some debugging settings. You do not necessarily need to change any of these, and you should be very careful if you do. The OBS mode settings are not required for the module to function, because the detection is done automatic if the module is used intended. These are only here if you cannot use the module in the intended way. If you set this, you might accidentally lock yourself out of your browser, because this is a setting that is stored in the browser you're currently using. And if it's on, this browser will permanently be in OBS mode until you either delete all of your browser data or paste in something into the browser console to reset the setting. This right here sets a specific player to always operate in OBS mode, regardless of any of the other settings. And there is a global disable here in case you need to interact with the Foundry setting dialog that will just turn off all of the OBS mode features globally for any user, no matter what other settings you have on. And this setting right here, also for debugging, just forces the /stream page of Foundry, which is a core feature, to be in OBS mode no matter what you do. So you can, for instance, just look at if everything renders correctly in your browser. But these settings are mostly intended for debugging, and you should not need to change these. This down here is also for the remote control to reduce camera jitter at the cost of making the camera movement a bit more robotic. If you don't like that, you can turn it off down here. But with the module installed and activated, all you need to do is to hop into OBS. And I will show you that right now. And here we are, back in OBS. So, if you want to use your Foundry installation in an OBS stream, all you need to do is to add a browser source, like this one right here. So, go to your OBS, go to Sources in your scene, go to the Add button, and then click on Browser. This will create one of these. You want to put in your URL to wherever your Foundry is running. If you're using a hosted version, that's the same URL you used to connect. If you're using the desktop client, you want to use the URL that you would give to your players to connect. It's important that the one for the game canvas, so where all of the tokens are, where your map is, ends in game, like this one down here. And the one where you want to have the overlays, and also incidentally where the in-game chat will be, you want to have it end in stream. So right now, you have the problem here that these both need logging in. And if I go ahead into this one, which is the game canvas, and then log in here as player 4, the other instance still needs to be logged in because they were both active at the same time. And this one doesn't have a user yet. The best way that I found to fix this is to go into the settings for your stream source and tick this option right here, shut down source when not visible. Then, when you log into the game source, you make sure that the chat and the overlays are turned off. Then you log in just as you would any other time. And then you unhide the other source, which should refresh it and log it in. Unfortunately, in this demo, I've been logged out. This happens sometimes. But generally speaking, this should refresh to be logged in. Why is it not working? Is this one ticked too? Oh. I think it's messed up because it wasn't set correctly when I logged in the first time. Yeah. There's some login context issues here, but we can easily fix those. So here we go. Load this. Make a new browser source with the stream URL. And this lovely option active right here. And yep, there we go. This time around it worked. This will work better for you. It's just because I had both sources active when I logged in. It kind of messed things up. Just make sure that this source is turned off when you log in with the other one. And now you can see this is my stream chat, and there's all of the overlays I've set up in this test world. Also, currently, if you're using version 13 of Foundry, you will get this annoying pop-up. You can just click on Interact, click on that little X, make it go away. This will only be there if the scene ever reloads. So this is the base setup. This is everything you need to go to get going with a basic streaming setup. And now if I go to my GM client, I set the correct mode. Once again, we will get over the director in a different video. But now it will track my camera movement over here. So as you can see, my mouse is nowhere near here. The interact thing, it's not in use. I move this, and the viewport moves for stream. Well, that is it for this tutorial video. I hope this helped you get your basic setup in here. And I will see you in the next video where we will go over the director.